Sup guys, today I'm going to show you a different variation of my Techno build, and this will focus on dealing some pretty insane damage. It's incredible for mobbing and bossing. If you played Outriders before Worldslayer came out, you may be familiar with the mod bomber, which was for pyromancers. This focused on crowd control and using mods to deal the large majority of your damage. This was the aim of the build, and you can see it for yourself, the devastating effects it has. I'm Dake and welcome to Dake's Gaming. If you have not already smashed the subscribe button and the like button, please do so, as there will be plenty more guides and build videos coming out for you to enjoy. So let's jump into it. So let's take a look at the skill tree. We are going mid-tree, where the keynodes are focusing on how we apply vulnerable and the effectiveness of vulnerable. Additional damage to enemies affected by freeze, max HP, as it's always nice to be tanky, and the damage that our turrets do. We also branch down, hitting some keynodes, wipeout and adrenalizing antenna. You'll get an extra 20% damage on enemies below 30% health, and get a bump of 30% anomaly power for you and your allies for 10 seconds. Just to put some context behind this, if you have 3 Technomancers with the same skill tree, your overall anomaly power will be up to 90% higher. That's a lot of anomaly power. We also take Doctor of Medicine for 20% increased healing, and again this stacks the same way, and then finally Overclocked for a massive 40% anomaly power boost when you use gadget skills. It is important to note that anomaly power does not boost your damage output from mods, but they will be pivotal in damage from turrets. These help keep you alive through skill life leech, and also apply additional debuffs to enemies through your packs tree. Activating skills will bump your anomaly power by 10% for 5 seconds, so spamming skills is recommended to keep this up. Lethal Devices is OP, and will be a top contender for damage when you see your final score sheet due to the gadget skills inflicting toxic to enemies, and if you've been able to bump your anomaly power up to say 3 million, that's 150k additional damage. Painkiller isn't a node I'm keen on, but is necessary to go through the tree. It will provide some health regen, but it's so small you'll hardly notice it. Permanence and Dissection work together amazingly due to the more statuses you apply to enemies, the more damage you'll do. I've seen at least 6 statuses at once, which equates to a further 30% damage dealt, which is just insane. On the Ascension tree, I'd recommend going for Anomaly Damage, Anomaly Power, Status Power, Resistance Pierce, Armor Pierce, and Damage against Elites, in that order. After that, do whatever best suits you. Right, so let's take a look at armor and weapons. I use the Techmonger armor due to the increase of turret damage by up to 50%. While this build is aimed at doing high damage with your mods, your turrets still play an important role. The mods I use on my armor are very much focused around gaining anomaly power, which will increase turret damage and multipliers to increase damage of the turret damage and mod damage further. On the weapons, you'll want to have damage dealing mods, preferably ones that aren't crit related for ease of use. I'm running a Damascus offering with Claymore Turret, Weakness Trap and Strings of Gorse, a Deathscape with Stigmatized, Ultimate Storm Whip and Violent Rupture, and Torment and Agony with Judgment Enforcer, Mage's Rage and Fortress. If I want to deal damage through my turrets, I'll always have my pistols out, because the status power and armor piercing really improves the damage. More on that in a moment. On the helmet we're using Double Trouble, no resistance against the fortified and anomaly echo. On the chest we're using hazardous modifications, shatter and hail shot. One note, if you do get a roll with hail shot or shatter as an apocalyptic mod, remove hazardous modifications instead, so you have hail shot, increased turret damage and shatter. This is a better combo. On the legs we're using improved coolant, euthanizer and cryodown. On the gloves we're using Twins, Radical Therapy and Arms and Anomaly. On the boots we're using Focus Discharge, Captain Hunter and Unstoppable Force. Just to touch briefly on how these synergize, no resistance against the fortified gives 100% of armor piercing as resistance piercing. This then feeds into Unstoppable Force, giving me a boost of 20% AP. So when I have my pistols out, turrets do a lot more damage. Hail Shot will increase the power of my turret by my status power, which is 231% extra damage. Euthanizer, Shatter and Radical Therapy will massively increase damage as they are multiplicative. Arms and Anomaly Echo will give you a big boost to your AP, and Captain Hunter will increase your damage against elites by 16%. The other mods just deal on how fast your turrets shoot, how many barrels they have, give you 2 on the field at once, and 50% decrease in cooldown, so you can continue to spam them and keep your bonuses up. Focus Discharge is really good, as effectively you're doing 380k damage per second to up to 5 enemies at once, which is OP. Please note, if you are struggling to find the Technomancer set due to the nerfs which came to Tiago recently, which you can find out more about in the video in the top right corner, you can use the Borealis set, which will give you a 50% increase in damage against frozen enemies. This might give you the edge you need until you get the right gear rolls for this build. That just about wraps it up. If you have any questions whatsoever, please let me know. And we have a Discord full of Outriders who you can socialise with. The link will be in the comments, and on that note, I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.